Hello everyone, I'm Tracy and thank you for tuning in today. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing some footage that I took on my trip to Maui. This one is going to be all of the footage that I got in Kula. So I was introduced to a very nice man named Dave Darling, and he lost his house in the Kula fire. So it was very early in the morning. I think maybe 4 or 5 in the morning is when he had to evacuate. So everyone that was in the Kula area that was, in danger was able to evacuate safely. No one lost their life and no one was injured from what I've heard. The property you're going to see is Dave's property. It's overlooking a gulch. So Kula is different from Lahaina in that this is a very high elevation area. So it was really cold. Actually, I felt like I wanted a sweater while I was there. And the fire started in this gulch. So I didn't see this before the fire, but he said that that whole gulch was like a tree canopy. You couldn't see the bottom, but now you can. And he said that he realized after the burn that there are caves under there, which was interesting. And I asked, what do you think are in those caves? And he said that there are owls in those caves, which I was surprised because all of my years in Hawaii, I never saw a single owl. But there are owls that are native to Hawaii, and the Hawaiians have a name for the owls. They're pueo. And I feel like they're kind of an important aspect of the Hawaiian culture. They have a name for them. And supposedly there's tons of burrowing owls in the Kula area. I just never seen one, but I thought that was interesting. This area is also known to have a lot of cultural significance. So as you know, in the past, they've found very old human remains and petroglyphs in this area. So there is a cultural advisor that I met who is in charge of like monitoring any kind of ancient artifacts, or anything like that that needs to be preserved. There is someone there that was very conscious of this. And you'll notice that the stonework and the cinder blocks, so the cement parts of the house, are still in pretty good shape. They're still there. They're not pulverized like some of the other homes that we've seen. So the house wasn't exactly leveled, but for the most part, all the wood for the most part was gone. The metal appliances and things like that were warped, and there was melted glass on the ground. So glass can melt in a brush fire or a residential fire. Also, there was a big gas tank on the property that it didn't blow up. It actually looked like it was in good shape. And what else did I find interesting? The house next to Dave's property was also destroyed, but the house on the other end is pretty much unscathed. He did say that parts of the house did get a little fire damage, but not much. So it's not uncommon to see a house completely leveled and then a house next to it untouched. And I don't think that this fire in Kula was suspicious. Also, the area that I was in is fairly newer, so it was developed I don't know exactly when, but more recently than Lahaina. So the wiring is all underground. So there is no way for a power line to have started this fire. Something else that I learned is that Kula is too far from Lahaina for that fire to have ignited the Lahaina fire. It's just way too far. I thought maybe it was closer, but they have to have started on their own. They were not related. Also, the fire department was able to control this fire fairly early. I have heard that this Kula fire was considered contained, but it wasn't. I believe it was contained when they said it was. Now, why would there have been, let's say that these fires were intentionally set. Why would there be two around the same time? I really don't know, but I think the Kula fire was started intentionally, but if anything, it was a distraction to the Lahaina fire. And you'll see in this video, the aftermath of the Kula fire looks very different from the Lahaina fire. So maybe it was a distraction, or I'm not sure. But the area that I was in Kula, the properties are fairly large. The homes are pretty large. They're newer, and they're, I would say, pretty valuable. I would say a lot of the houses I saw were $1 million plus as far as value. And what it seems like for Dave's property is insurance will be covering the rebuilding of the property. He's hoping by next year, Halloween, that his new house will be built. So that's a lot faster than what Mayor Bisson said the Lahaina area will be rebuilt. And you also see that there's a 10-step process that they have to go to in order to start rebuilding. One of those steps is they have to test the soil to make sure it's not contaminated. So that is a step that needs to be done. And in fact, I did a video of kind of explaining how the remains of the Lahaina fire, like what was on the top, was put into these 55-gallon blue barrels, and a lot of it was shipped to the mainland. And also a nonprofit, Samaritan's Purse, was allowed to help with this process before the landowners were able to go to their property, which I thought was odd, that they let a nonprofit group go in before the homeowners, because I have a feeling a lot of them wanted valuables that were on their property that they didn't have enough time to get, safes and things like that. So I think that was very unfortunate. Not to mention the potential remains of the victims that were in that area. I have not heard of them or, the people in charge doing a lot to preserve the remains. And I can go on and on about why I think that is. But I did want to show this because I noticed a very big difference in the damage of Dave's house and the pictures of the damage in Lahaina. So that is that's the main thing that I wanted to explain and show you guys. So I'll play some of the footage right now.
You don't mind if she films?
I'm recording for a channel. I'm reporting on the fires and getting the real story. It's my own YouTube channel.
Okay, yeah.
That's how he found me.
Yeah, okay.
So this is his house, was his house here. And the Army Corps of Engineers is working on getting through all these steps.
Second day, and they work
Second
Saturday,
day.
just for me, I think. Yeah, and up this one. This one, the guy had to reinvest $5 million because of the
one went to Denver, the other went to Boulder, and now they're both there, so he doesn't mind being away.
I'll stand
from work,
behind.
But his wife,
Yeah.
she's still in Chicago, and then
Are we going to stay behind or what?
Yeah, maybe.
it works for them. So they have a.
So do you know how they got down there to work on the fire?
Pardon me?
How do they get down there?
Well, they did. That was the problem. It was too windy for the helicopters to even try to fight it. But from here you can see what it did over there and how it jumped out of the gulch. some of the new ones are bigger than me already.
Mm.
I'm watering my turmeric. This used to be a taro patch, but I turned it into turmeric.
What's all this fuzzy? Oh, it must be insulation.
You know, I was thinking about turn it on or off because you want the thing to blow up or you want it to leak out.
Winning.
You know, what's better?
Oh, she's winning then, huh?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it leaked out part of this upper, there's some of the video.
She had a lot of bamboo.
Well, here's what the day when we left. Here's the very night we left. How much of that bamboo had tipped over. But we'll have to find something really significant. But still, yeah, he's doing the job for me.
Do they sometimes find things like that around here?
Well,
Burial grounds?
This gulch here has probably more petroglyphs than almost any.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you seen them?
Yeah, there's some right down here by a place called Queen's Bath. But see, I have failing eyesight. So to me, they're lost on me because I don't have much
see.
detail.
We used to watch you
Yeah,
from the observatory. And
that was me.
wow.
That was me.
Yep.
Yeah, so tell them, put the blue flag around my foundation over there. Tell them the thing is from the
Where?
man days.
Well,
My foundation.
oh yeah, I did, yeah. Yeah, all these blue flagging, that's what it's for. Okay.
Billy Hahn.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
Baldwin,
Yeah.
have a flag.
Yeah. I'm a cultural observer over here.
So you gotta know Tracy Thompson.
Ah!
Then you would click on that.
All right, so this is where the Kula fire
And it's gonna
was. This is the initial fire
now
in that gulch.
Technological age that we live in,
I've held
and then
off
click
as long
this
as
button right here to turn your cellular down. That top button right here at the
I
top.
could have stopped right around
Right here. When you click that, it's gonna turn green. There you go. Now,
I graduated high
go
school
right
in
here.
74.
Scroll that up a little bit, and then go back there.
Young whippers.
And then hit this refresh button up here.
Go back.
Pin that so that way you don't have to scan.
Look at the houses behind you, so beautiful.
It's where it's cold up here, which is odd. There's appliances.
Dryer, washer and dryer. Cabinets.
Car there.
Sorry about the loss. Depend out, I mean, the problem is the heat is so great that I would think they'd have to degrade the concrete.
Well, we gotta clear it off the seat first.
Yeah,
So just so we're in on that.
that would be nice.
Good. This made it. The old bar made it. The wheelbarrow made it. Never even flat tire.
So he says this is where the first one was.
Yeah.
First fire.
You think the heat would have...
Kula fire.
Yeah, this is my house.
This was here. Will you rebuild?
I'm hoping to. Once we go through those 10 steps, they just put the sign for the 10 steps you gotta go through.
Oh.
I also want to mention that there was a smell on the property. It wasn't really strong, but I did notice a kind of a chemical like smell. It wasn't something familiar. If I had to compare it to something, it might be like the smell of plastic when it's burned, but I did notice that. All right, so I hope you guys saw the things that I was talking about. Something that I like to kind of analyze when it comes to things like this. I was a sociology major in college, but I guess the rebuilding of property in Kula is going to be much different from the rebuilding in Lahaina. This is just my kind of take on it. So the homes in the Kula area are very large. They're fairly large. The properties are fairly large, and they're high value properties. A lot of them are multi-million-dollar properties. So I'm assuming that they had good coverage as far as insurance goes. And so the process seems to be going a lot faster and a lot smoother because, you know, insurance would be covering the expenses of all of this. I also, in a previous video, mentioned an amendment that the Maui County Council voted on. It was 9-0 unanimous decision that they were going to allow FEMA do the, you know, the 10 steps, getting the property ready for rebuilding, and they wouldn't have to pay out of pocket at that time. But the insurance money will have to pay FEMA back. And I think that really should not be the case, because it is the county's fault. It is the state's fault that these properties were burned. Kula is, I would say, a different, it's different. I don't think the way the Kula fire behaved is the same or similar to the Lahaina fire. It seems like the Kula fire was contained pretty quickly. It seems like there were, whoever evacuated the people did these things on time. No one was injured or no one lost their life in Kula. And that might be a reflection on the fact that this is a higher end neighborhood. I don't know. But for sure, this fire could not have been started by downed power lines, because they don't exist in this area. So another thing that I learned, because I was there for a while, there's no way the Kula fire had anything to do with the Lahaina fire as far as spreading to Lahaina, because it's just way too far. It's like a 20-30 minute drive from Dave's property to Lahaina. So at first I thought maybe that's the course that the fire took, but it definitely didn't. The Kula fire had to have been started, but you know, there, and then the Lahaina fire had to have been started in Lahaina. So yeah, it's a very different feel being in Kula. But you do see in the videos that, you know, Dave's property was burnt down, but the neighbor's home was not. And you know, I wasn't there, but I have a feeling that the fire department did protect the houses that weren't affected. And yeah, there's a lot of attention being put onto Dave's property, and you know, the friends that he has in this area were all evacuated on time. The video of his house on fire was taken by the fire captain. One of the neighbors was still in their home and got the video of his house on fire. So I thought that was interesting that there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of secrecy or hiding of the truth in Kula. I did feel like the cultural observer, when he saw me filming, was kind of trying to discourage me. He didn't say I couldn't. He was like, oh, you don't have to do that. I already documented everything. But he didn't say you're not allowed to, or to not film. So I was allowed to film, and they were very nice. The FEMA agents there gave me a bottle of water. It just was a little odd that that cul-de-sac was full of more FEMA trucks by the time we left. And there was a pretty significant amount. I would say maybe total, by the time we were leaving, there were about 5. Some looked like government vehicles, and some looked like just, you know, regular old pickup trucks. So yeah, there were a lot of people there. And I'm not saying that they were there because they saw me filming. I don't know. But they did start going to work pretty quickly after we arrived. So yeah, I hope you found that interesting. And I have a little bit more for my trip to Maui that I'm going to be putting together. and releasing that as soon as I can. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.